Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Cordant and we are back for some more Pillars of Eternity with the Triple Crown difficulty settings. I just started up the game. We are right now in the Burial Isle and I think that all the souls that we had picked up are once again in the map and they're kinda coming toward me right now. But we had already picked them up last time. I'm not even sure if I can call it pick it up, but I don't think they have any kind of effect. So we are standing by the pit. This is what will lead us to Sun in Shadow, which represents the beginning of the end game of Pillars of Eternity. And once you go down, you can no longer come back up. So something I was looking at while finishing yesterday's episode was that we still have the Trials of Durance here, which is the companion quest for Durance. And he was upset because of Vodika's plot and all that stuff, and Magran as well. I wasn't able to convince him that Magran was working with Vodika, and the quest didn't complete. I want to see if I can talk to him and see if something changes.
What?
I had questions I wanted to ask you.
If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skidding your knuckles on the wrong door.
Tell me about Magran. Oh, you know her. You must. He gives a bitter chuckle. Then his tone evens out. She's a many-headed bitch. What's your view on Magran?
She's a goddess, as fickle as they come. And with all the failings you'd expect of an empress and a whore. Too many eyes, too many wants, too much to hold on to. That's the failing of a god. More aspects than words to describe her, like most of them. A god with many nations to oversee, only serves to spread herself too thin.
I'm wondering if I should have had these conversations prior to talking to him about Vodika. Although flame rarely crosses twice, so perhaps that is the only truth she embraces. Who knows? Gods get greedy. When it comes to fire, fire is a god's hunger. And what are other aspects? Durance begins to count on his fingers, chanting it off. War transforms, fire consumes, trials purify. Warfare, fire, consumption, purification, and most of all, transforming. Trials as well, but all things are put to the test anyway. A trial can consume, purify, transform. They are all linked, although at its heart is the flame, and the flame is what matters. It is the source of all things. Guess I should have started with that, eh? Any fool around the campfire knows that. Without flames, fire would have made little progress in the dark. To hear some of the inner fires tell it around the hearth and bellows, even in the halls of Ashfall, you'd think that fire brought life to man. And that fire was Magran. Some of the older texts say she rubbed her hands together and they burst into flame. Or another god shafted her like a poker. Okay. There are different perspectives on her then? He grunts. Mine is only one sight among many. Durance frowns, pauses, then his eyes take on an eager gleam. But here's one. I can speak to how the losing side sees her, and that should tell you enough. Let me speak to what an adherent sees. And what does an adherent see? The adherents have a proper, polite translation for her. Excellence in war, tactical discipline, he snorts. That's why they lost the fucking colony, of course. They were properly still quoting that while we had them bent across the decks. All their guns and cannons are fine, but useless when your staff is cracking light into their skulls, dispensing red gifts left and right. Durance's fists tighten, and he laughs. Adherents call that elevation, divine awareness. Those words are as welcome as shit on one's boots, and that's all they took back with them while they were running. He shakes his head. A lesson learned at the wrong time. Almost feel a pang of sympathy for them. Almost. Lesson? What do you mean? The title of a god isn't knowing a god. Adhering to words rather than walking the path, testing yourself in the heat of it. Walk until the words are stripped away and you feel it burning in your heart. That is the lesson. that adherent politeness, that pretty adherence to the word of scripture as they saw it, that burned their ships, scarred them, kept them running throughout the Deerwood campaign. He snorts. Divine awareness, there's no true faith in waiting to be tested. The best in battle have already shit themselves plenty, shit themselves until they're dry and can focus on the killing. Okay. Enough about Magran, I have other questions.
I suspect the answers will seed more questions.
More about you. Oh god. Are those the same robes you wore at Halgat? Durance frowns. Why do I? The tension in his face slips into irritation. Your memory is both a curse and a curse and a curse? Okay. I wore these on our pilgrimage to Halgat, as well as after. He glances at them. Actually, these are new robes, but okay. We were to travel quietly so few would know our religion, or intent, like executioners, with robes instead of hoods. How did they get burned then? These robes are the ones I wore at the Citadel, when the God Hammer was triggered. Imagine a campfire, then a field of them. His hand cradles his staff. Then form them into a sphere and let it grow until it fills the air. He swallows, his throat dry. Its violence ran through my staff, and my spirit like 100 lightnings, and all around me was flame. It tore at my skin, even burst vessels in my flesh. He holds up his sleeves. Yet the robe survived. He grins, the scars on his face bunching up beneath the coarse beard hairs. And you've worn them since? Aloth purses his lips. I do hope he's washed them. If Magran deemed I should wear ash while dispensing her justice, then so be it. We exist at her pleasure, for her pleasure. Durance shrugs. Either way, she answers my call, quietly or loudly, but her colors seem weak in comparison to the acts one does in her name. And quiet is how I prefer. I find others of my faith do not tend to take me for a second glance if the fire of my spirit does not grace my staff. Okay, I have other questions. That staff of yours, can you tell me about it? Durance glances at his staff, then at you, and gives a crooked smile. Can't take your eyes off it, he chuckles. Durance himself favored such knotted twists of heat, it was said, no shame in it. And why are those symbols carved on your staff?
Carved? This staff is a history. Acts leave their mark. Some symbols fall into the ash, others blaze brighter.
What causes one to fade and another to rise?
Memory, meaning. It's same as the memories in your head, perhaps more trustworthy. Random acts, things done with instinct. They may make lines, burning briefly through the wood. Acts devised, planned, that stay with you. Symbols form and tell the story. It's like all memories, except the staff burns it true. When a thought's close, you see it clearer, brighter. Once you forget, they get buried. But like rings in wood, the etchings remain. Keeps me grounded. Also, it's a solid walking stick.
I don't see Magran's symbol on your staff. Durance frowns. It is there, but marked different. I follow Durance, and in his teachings there is but a single flame, a simpler aspect. His frown deepens and he taps the edge of the staff. Durance would meditate by focusing on a single flame and attach meaning to it. It was something to center the spirit for what was to come. For what was to come? The flame is intended to symbolize bringing punishment to another. And it is inscribed above the symbol of the one being punished, marking them as always touched by Magran. And how is it that only watchers can see the symbols? They are energies of the spirit, a channel for one's faith. He frowns. It's hard to say. There was a time when they glowed brighter, but now they are an aid in my work. Because the staff's markings stand out to a watcher, well, they sometimes identify themselves. He frowns. And sometimes they're blinded to the staff as well. A gift of Magran, perhaps, to cloak itself from sight when one isn't looking for it. Okay.
I suspect the answers will seed more questions.
He said he followed Durance. Durance is an odd name. No more than Watcher. And Durance is not a name, it is a title. Maybe I should have spoken to him before. What does your title mean? Keep troubling me and I may extend the tithe bowl for each question. Enough questions for now. Let the road keep us until the next campfire. God damn it. Maybe I should have spoken to him before that Wodica incident.
Hey.
He says to wait until the next campfire. I really didn't want to rest. But I think I'm gonna have to. I'm just gonna aim at spirits. You can keep damage reduction over here. Because I want to see if I can advance his conversation here. Your faith is full of need, Durance snorts. It looks to burst if you didn't speak.
If doubts and curiosity plague you, you're skinning your nut.
Okay. So what does your title mean?
Durance? We've shared the fire in a difficult road enough. Enough to know you're willing to suffer one and walk the other. Every god who has followers has a chapter solely for them, whether they know it or not. I know it. This chapter is not a thing of intent, but a flame that catches you. Everyone hears dogma and hymns and rituals in a different way. And whether they admit it or not, the fires that catch your senses all weave into a larger bonfire, which becomes your religion, your way of life, your road. Worshippers take what they want from the god, and then translate it. So it was with Durance. Was a man once, before he became the religion.
Was Durance a saint? Durance? A saint? Durance laughs. No, he worked for a living. His shackle slows, dies, then glances at you. An old soldier's joke, but it holds true for saints as well. No saint in his teachings. His disciples did much of the work, like soldiers heading out to war. Durance sneers. His teachings are impolite, I don't know what this is. Now, it was composed of several trials and lessons woven together for the sake of faith. What were these teachings?
There is no scripture, no poetry or wordplay open to interpretation. Its disciples are often not welcome, so they walk the road. A physical devotion. Many a metaphor has killed a man, when it would have been best to show him the truth of it, as ugly as it may seem. Before Durance, I put my faith in a great many such words, and encouraged others to do the same. All were weaker for it, unworthy of the flame.
Durance's face darkens. The devotions are from days when Magran would not simply open her legs for any eager young initiate. Instead, she would turn away these faithful and ask them to wander the land to prove themselves devout. Based on the trials and judgments, then access to the god is granted. But it was up to each initiate to find the fire within them, and that fire, Durance frowns, that fire rarely burned when first they came to Magran's door and sought acceptance. Begging is not what transforms one. But to say such now, the words are not welcome as they should. Why is that?
The reasons are so many you would age and die listening to them all. But the teachings of Durance also included casting established clergy out who might need reminders of such devotion as well.
And no priest seeks to be removed from his comforts, whether food, bed, or a whore's warm mouth on his cock. Oh my god. Durance, why? Those are trials that few can bear to let go once the comforts have taken them. He frowns, his eyes darkening. They see the trials of Durance as unnecessary for the continuation of the faith. Inconvenient sometimes. They hold fast that there are other ways to spread Magran's fire without leaving marks as Durance taught. What do you mean leaving marks?
As the disciples walked the road, the trials of Durance they suffered and dispensed were also ones of justice. All potential converts, Even the faithful were tested for weakness. And if their weakness broke them, so be it. If they survived, then they were transformed, made stronger, as Magran seeks of all. Before I followed the way of Durance, I did not test myself. I did not test others. Weakness and injustice thrived around me because I permitted it to be so.
Why would the clergy object to your dispensing justice?
Justice was not seen as our duty. Justice was a thing of Woodica.
Durance grunts, and the debates on that ran fierce and hot. If any god should hold the reins to the keeping of any order. As I said, an unpopular notion. Durance chuckles without humor. Might spread like a fire. Can't have that. Yet Durance reminded us that Woedica had once been burned by Magran, and rightly so. If a goddess of justice must be burned to remind her of her place, well, then Magran's clergy can remind others in a similar fashion. So you would punish others.
Transform them. If they broke, so be it. The greater the ruination of their flesh and soul, the greater their hope of salvation. It was the struggle that would strengthen them. One can have enough of words until you hunger for giving the red gift to some prattling fool, whether they serve Magran or not. God and faith can drive a man to do much others would find difficult. Durance himself admitted as much. He did not relish the task, but he did not shy away from it.
And you follow this teaching?
All life does, whether by Magran or not. The Saints' War made it necessary, and as distasteful as it may have seemed, well, now, every mark of Aethys, every weak soul that exposed our throat to the enemy, they would answer for every soldier and Magran disciple that had fallen. I punished others, yes, men, women, children, and I did not spare the staff or any other instrument I felt would learn them and strengthen them. A purge not just of Aethys, but of frailty, a burning of dry fields, a sacrifice at the whore's altar. But who needs her words when one has her flame to show the way?
So this religious traveling chapter was put down? There were not many of us, Durance snarls. I am the last. And while there's no words or poetry to mar Durance's teachings, there's little to keep it alive if the fire dies. But that, in itself, is a test. The Saints' War gave Durance a new boost in popularity, for a time. A saint to match a saint, ruthlessness to match ruthlessness, Durance shrugs. The fiercest of us, well, we took the battle to Eothas and Red Ceres. It took strength to turn back their heresies, and I doubt many of Magran's highest could have done the same. Then the teachings dwindled, died, as most flames do. Durance stares at his staff, but they still leave marks. Okay.
The cost of troubling me seems to worry you little.
Tell me about the Godhammer.
It was a weapon of Deerwood's people, a symbol of their independence. It saved the Deerwood.
What happened on the bridge when the Godhammer fell? We chose the bridge because we could control it. Durance's hands tightened at the top of the staff, as if holding it by the neck. It was a place where we could choke Eothas in his own footsteps, where we knew his feet would fall, a narrow neck of stone. But it was more than that. It was a spine of the Deerwood, symbolic of its backbone. Such symbols are important in the construction of a weapon. Durance studies his staff, his eyes traveling along the etchings. Any weapon. Durance's face hardens and his eyes burn, his eyebrows narrowing. I suspect Eothas knew that as well, and so did his vessel in its arrogance. His hand tightens on the staff. He intended to walk upon the bridge as if walking on the backs of the Deerwood, and we intended to burn him with the light of our faith and his. 12 on the bridge, 12 in the shadow, and gave ourselves to it. Gave yourselves to it?
We put much of ourselves into the Godhammer. Such a device is not simply a machine. There are elements of the spirit in it. Even Widewind's spirit.
Elements of the spirit?
Each of the 12 who brought the Godhammer forth would have done anything to save the Deerwood, save its people. It is why we were chosen. Each of us hated this pretender. That rage, that spirit, that rebellion went into our work, and went into studying him as well.
Whitewind? Why?
We all studied Widewind. He was our enemy, and he had provided the flesh the god wore as a cloak. That flesh made him vulnerable. I knew what fields his hands had tilled, his family, what he had harvested, where he had been born. We sought to know him, what had led him to fight us.
Why was that important?
You don't kill the god. You kill the man it inhabits. And you leave that man a ruin. Burn him to ash. The weapon was meant to not only burn his flesh, but it would burn his soul. And it did. At the cost of our own. And at the cost of our goddess's favor. That whore be damned.
Is that why your image was blurred in the dream? Now, it sounds as if you fell victim to your own weapon.
Perhaps your eyes were blinded by the truth of the Godhammer, Watcher. I feel half a man at times, but even that is twice that of most others. If you fear for my spirit, your fears are baseless. The Godhammer, seeing its light, only fueled my anger and made me stronger. Made me re-examine the teachings of Magran. Put them in a new light.
It looked as if there was only part of you, as if your spirit had been sheared in half.
I do not need you to cast any more questions on me, Watcher.
God damn it.
Nor did I ask you to look upon me without my leave. Get gone, and leave me be.
Well, I mean, his story is very complex and very long, so I do understand they wanting to break it into several parts, but
If doubts and
let me just see
curiosity plague
here.
you, you're skinning your knuckles on the wrong door.
Okay, so now we have this option. I believe Magran tried to kill you, but I want to see if I have anything else from the Godhammer.
It was a weapon of Deerwood's people, a symbol of their independence. It saved the Deerwood.
In the vision I saw your staff. You looked indistinct, blurred. Durance frowns, glances at you with a sharp look. Perhaps your eyes were blinded by the Godhammer's light, Watcher, he snorts. I may feel half a man at times, but even that is twice that of most others, okay.
If you fear for my spirit, your fears are baseless. The Godhammer, seeing its light, only
Okay,
fueled my
we've heard this before.
made me stronger.
Is that when you sought the teachings of Durance?
It seemed time to find the teachings I had lost, and to carry out the goddess's will in the purges. Aethys's faith still remained.
Okay, so no more questions about the
Cost of
Godhammer.
troubling me seems to worry you little.
What about Magran? Are you a servant of Whale? Let mysteries and questions remain with him, at least until the next time we need rest. Oh, come on, man. Well, let's rest again.
What? If doubts and curiosity...
Okay. Who are their enemies?
Be more of a question if a god has any allies. Certainly not any friends. But yes, there were enemies. Were.
Eothas. Durance gives a cold grin, nods. But we sorted that out. Then Hylia, under Queen's crown of feathers and birds, he sneers. Perhaps she claims to see the world from her perch. I hope she saw what happened to Eothas, and if she dares to walk upon an earth where such fire runs. Her temples are things of windows and twittering music. If a bird falls, know that it's a victory. Seeing another set of darting eyes from that feathered bitch die is a pleasure to me. You bet her a lot of rage. She and her clergy offer shelter to the Eothasian since his death, his humiliation. She's next for me. Okay, something else about Magran. Does she have any allies?
Some, shaped for hunt and war. Abidan the Golem, Galawain and his beasts. The latter keeps us honest and awake. The other makes the tools by which we punish those who are not.
I am familiar with Abidan. Durance snorts. Wouldn't have been surprised if you hadn't. More gods than weeds in a field, and those are only the ones of this lifetime. They come and go, but are always here at the same time. Abaddon used to look human, Durance grunts. Got killed, then built a new body for himself. Transformation, with Magran's help. Perhaps he needed their own blacksmith to tend their fires. If so, Abaddon serves it. Durance frowns. He's a weapon, a tool, not a god in my mind. Still, the people of Deerwood, this is especially, hold him dear. So be it. Although if the reward for hard work and craftsmanship is a body like his, I'll keep my blood and my cock and hips to trust it with. God damn it, man. You also mentioned Galawain. Monster Father, the Great Hound. And as for monsters, this world has quite a bit, and not just the ones on two legs. It's as if he's made monsters solely to hunt them, to remind men of their place. He's busy making more, I suspect. More monsters than sense, variation upon variation. What do you mean? His aspects are a confusing bunch, and considering he respects reversals of fortune, especially in beasts, perhaps not so confusing. No reason why Magran and he share a bed in my eyes. Even if he does believe in the trial. A filthy Orlan god, bitch. In many ways, howling and mewling, perhaps like they do. They can keep their beasts. I'll take fire and weapons any day. Not all Orlans worship him. Durance glances at you, then snorts. Ah, Orlan Defiance. Now there's something to fear. Lot of good that did you when the slaving was at its peak, and you were all foot rugs and prone rugs for various shit-heeled nobles. Durance sneers. Those days may come again. After all, you deserved it. My man. Deserved it? What do you mean? Durance looks at you surprised. Too weak to defend yourselves. You were tested, still are, and you're lacking. Orlan, war isn't going to stop to wait for you to catch up. He frowns as if thinking. Now an Orlan watcher. Maybe get enough of you, then you'll have a chance. But we'll see, won't we? At least I will. Not sure if your eyes will, too busy looking outward, judging me for your own failings. For one of Magran's worshippers, you seem to hold little value in her.
Oh, has my talk raised more questions? A true surprise. Do I value her? Why, I hold value in all whores. For a whore, their motivations are honest.
And if one such as I, who truly seeks to embody trials and purification, one such as I, who basks in war, why, if I do not even dare to take that fight to the principles of a goddess and her chosen fires, he grins, I would bleed to death on my own hypocrisy. So you are in conflict with Magran. Men fight, women fight, he chuckles. Sometimes even with the same sex. If one isn't fighting, struggling, punishing, then what good are you? He raps his staff to the ground. It's uncomfortable enough that this rod isn't drawing blood and bruise right now. Durance gives a strange smile. But now, fighting a goddess, that's something one would be hard-pressed to call a true fight. But that's what makes one among the faithful taking on those odds. But if you're in opposition to her, how do you draw power from her? Durance shrugs, but his face twists in a cruel sneer. Eothas burned, yet his worshippers still suck power from his smoldering cock. Beyond the spirit twist of their lies and blasphemies. He frowns. If I give my goddess offense, then I serve her according to her aspects. And it may be that in giving such offense and receiving it, I may find deeper lessons. Durance did much the same in his travels. It was in defiance, the feelings that there is some other truth that is not found solely in staring into flames. Okay, so Magran has been discussed.
I suspect the answers will seed more questions.
I'm gonna go for this. I believe Magran tried to kill you. Do you have whale's eyes painted on your skin? There's more mysteries than questions, and even a marching force of answers won't placate you. Even soldiers need to let their thoughts settle, just as their priests do. What does that even mean? Does it mean I need to rest before I can talk to him again? God damn it. I think there was like a... Yeah, okay, there was a camping supply here.
What? If doubts and curiosity plague you, kill me.
Okay, good.
She is a goddess. I still drink from her burning breasts, Watcher. If she wished me dead, she could trace me to my source and kill me.
In the dream of the Godhammer, your spirit looked blurred, indistinct in the light, as if it had been sheared from you. So this option wasn't available the last time we spoke about this. Durance stares at you, his expression frozen, but he's silent, listening. If you had been damaged as I saw in the Godhammer vision, then she may be unable to see you as you once were. Durance turns from you for a moment. His face twists in thought, conflicting emotions running across his features. Finally, he turns to you, his face steady.
There's no proof, Watcher. I was a fool to think you could help me see any farther than I could.
If you don't trust me, then trust your staff. Admit that the other Godhammer builders are dead. Durance turns to the staff, and for a moment you see his eyes burning, taking in the edges of the wood, the symbols inlaid there, the 11 faded circles.
They died in the blast, yes. The other 11. I was the only one to walk away. I thought we had wronged our goddess. That this was my trial, and if I could prove myself worthy of her! I should have known better. There is only one God of redemption, and I saw him ended.
As he studies the staff, you feel a wave of heat, a terrible energy rolling forth from it in waves, so much so it feels as if the Godhammer itself is alive in his hands. And past it, you hear a cry, like a child being born, and your eyes feel the flash of white. Then 100 imagined shades of purple and white, streaming and circling into the howling of a storm, and beneath it, the grinding of ancient machines of stone, rock, and metal. Grinding and turning until all around you feels as if it was burning, sinking into the shadows of the earth, beneath the ground, the only place where a spirit might find refuge. Okay. When your vision clears, you see Durance, his hands clutching the staff, and his eyes are bright, burning red. Atop the staff, the flame burns cleanly, brightly. As his gaze burns, he rips his gaze away and howls, a bellowing, horrid howl, like a wounded animal, and sweat pours down his brow. Oh, my lord. Durance, we can make this right.
To think I served her, I followed her. Now I shall serve no one. Woodica's lies must be answered. And now it seems I must take fire and war from a goddess's false claim as well. I still take from her strength as I did, for as long as it lasts. For I shall not cast her aside yet, until I have drained her dry and had my fill, just as she intended for me. For I have learned one of the lessons of the faithful. The faithful may wound a goddess greater than any enemy. A purification is coming, and this fire shall consume them both.
Let's continue on. Okay, so good.
As you wish.
Good, good, good. I was very afraid that I wouldn't be able to complete this. So I was able to get Durance to see that Magran had conspired with Wodica in creating the Godhammer, and that her refusing to speak with him wasn't because he had wronged her, but rather was because she had intended him to die with the other Godhammer engineers, in order to keep secret her direct involvement in Eotha's destruction. Though it appears this alliance between the goddess was short-lived, it sheds new light on the Saints' War and the epidemic of hollow-born infants that followed. Durance, for his part, has renounced his goddess and sworn vengeance. As a man who's killed one god already, it would seem that he might be one of the only people alive who could make good on such a threat. Okay, so now I feel much better. Because the only quests that aren't complete over here are companion quests that I don't really want to bother doing. Sorry. In any case, this spent my last camping supplies. So I am going to go back to Twinhelm. I can go to any place that has an inn. Possibly even in Dirford Village. Because I think there's less loading screens there. Just to get our rest, buy some camping supplies, because we have none right now, and then we can continue. And honestly, I wasn't expecting this long of a dialogue with Durance, but it was worth it. Oh, what do you know of the temple on the island? Dorval's lined face turns up toward the rest of the island, then back to you. That is the court of the penitence. It is a dreaded place and one to be respected, as the gods must sometimes be feared, but always obeyed. Okay, let's take us back to Old Song. And, well, I was thinking about going to Dirford Village, but I think it's the same thing than just going to the inn here in Twin Helms. So I'll just do that. But yeah, man, this episode was going to start with me going down the pit, and halfway we were just taking care of Durance's quest. Now, naturally, if you go through that conversation the way that I imagine that the developers had intended, like throughout your travels, while you are progressing through the game, it's a lot easier to chew. Because right now we had to go through a lot of dialogue in one sitting, and even the game tells you, you know, stop talking to me right now. We shall discuss this when we rest the next time, to kind of break it up into different parts. But I had no choice here, so we took in a lot of Durance right now. But all in all, I think it's probably my favorite companion in the game. I really love him. I really like Eder as well. And the rest of them are kind of, I don't want to say whatever, but they are not as interesting to me as Durance and Eder. So a room, please. Give me the good buff. And give me the camping supplies, please. Here. Okay. We are good to go. We still have 2 loading screens ahead of us. Oh, come on. Because we have to go back to Old Song and then we have to take the boat. So yeah, 2 loading screens. That is the only problem with these city areas. When you want to go from one place to the other, it has a lot of backtracking and waiting, sadly. At least we can drink some coffee. I can't even just fast travel to the Betrayal Island, I don't know why. Yeah, now that I think of it, honestly, why do they make me take the boat again? If I've already been there, I should be able to fast travel to it. Don't really see a point in forcing me to go back to the boat. It's just wasting time here. In any case, something I also wanted to mention, just in case some of you didn't see it. In the last episode, we pledged ourselves to Breith. I think she's the one that makes the most sense in terms of what to do with the souls. So that's who I chose, you know, to promise my allegiance to. So in the end, my plan is to return all of the souls that were stolen from by Theos, that were, you know, the purpose was to go to Vodica. I plan to returning them back into the wheel, so they can, you know, once again become life. I'm just picking up these souls. I don't know if it makes a difference, but might as well. And let's go down the pit. A great pit lies in the shadow of the statue of Vodica. No light from the surface reaches the bottom, but even so, you catch flickers of a ghostly glow in the depths. A wind from the pit buffets you. It isn't cold, but it rises goose flesh along your arms. The wind carries a whisper, low and sibilant. As you look into the pit, souls gather around you. They encase you in a cloud of essence that swirls around your body while you consider your next move. And our only move is to jump into the pit, because now we have the help of the gods, which hopefully will not let us die. You jump, trusting in the promises of the gods and the power of the souls to bear you safely down. The sudden drop takes your breath away, but the souls catch you, encasing you in a shining, thrumming aura. But while they slow your descent, you can still feel that you are falling faster than you should. The essence flowing around you is strong but chaotic. You find yourself drifting toward the wall. Mind the wall, Cordumt! That'd leave all kinds of marks. Reach for a companion? You reach out and feel a hand, strong and sure, wrap around your forearm. It tugs you away from the wall just as you feel your toe graze something. You manage to spread your arms and legs into an X, steadying your position and the rate of your descent. You reach the court of the penitence, millennia-old stones safely under your feet. Good. Your party is considered high level for the content in Act 4. If you would like, the critical path can be increased. Naturally, high level, just as every single time we had to make this choice before. I mean, Act 4, I think it's just an area, right? Or is it like 2 areas?
After what seems like an eternity, your rapid descent comes to an abrupt end. You remain still for a moment while your heart settles and your eyes adjust, breathing in stale, forgotten air. Before you, a narrow and eroded walkway becomes faintly visible in the dim light, cutting a winding path through a cavern so expansive it seems a world unto itself. In the distance, you can make out the cold gleam of living Adra veins that spike and fork in and out of view from the murky depths beneath. Their glow a faint and fleeting guide along the ancient trail. You look above at the opening you jumped through, now barely a speck of light like some distant star alone in the cosmos and forever out of reach. Your only way lies ahead.
Yep, your only way. You cannot turn back. Actually, something interesting is that when you jump in, or when you click the pit, you don't get a warning that there's no turning back. I think there should be. And now we have a new quest.
Than I expected.
Memories of the
All right?
Ancients.
No shattered knees. Good. Just me then.
Put it there,
That
man.
was bracing.
This place is cursed.
Durance doesn't talk, which is sad. Okay, so what do we have? We have completed the Court of the Penitence. I've survived the fall to the bottom of the pit of the Court of the Penitence. And I've chased Theos into Breith Eaman. There's no turning back now. I have done as the elements advised. I have been carried safely into the depths of Breith Eaman with the blessing of the gods, who would have me stop Theos before he sends the souls of Dirwood's Hollowborn to be consumed by his goddess Vodica. Whether or not that happens, we would seem to have unfinished business, and I need to find him as soon as I can. The whispers in my mind are louder now, and no amount of rest is any relief. By the time I reach him, I may be as lost as Merwald was. I have survived the fall from the top of the Court of Penitence, the path before me leads to the Ingwithan's eternal prison, and, if the Dalamgan sister spoke true, to this sun in shadow where Theos is bound. Okay. Piggy also survived the fall.
If secrets.
Okay, I was gonna say, I'm not sure if this place has traps. So we're gonna be stealthing here. If there's one thing I do not want is to die to traps at the end of the game. A millennium's worth of dust fills the cracks and crevices of this skeletal relief. Same thing, okay. We have shades and specters. I doubt there'll be much of a... Wait. I mean, I'm running back in case there's traps along the way. I might not be afraid of these enemies, but I am afraid of the traps. We're gonna go for an amplified wave once they start pumping up, which is right now. There's even some other animats coming in. Awesome. Hit. Good. Keep on killing. Shoot that one and amplified mind wave on it there. Debuff them. You can shoot whoever. And I can shoot that guy.
This thing isn't doing me.
Okay, you shoot him. You shoot him. Okay, carry on. Ow. These stupid specters, man, keep shooting my backline. Are very annoying.
If secrets whisper here, I shall listen.
Okay. Yeah, so that's why I was afraid of running over there. In case there was a trap.
It's finished.
And also something that I think is worth mentioning here, especially for those of you who might have played or maybe have seen my playthroughs of Baldur's Gate, that I understand were based on the limitation of the engine at the time, but were kind of annoying, is that traps in Baldur's Gate, you can only reveal them once per round, which effectively means you have to walk a little bit, wait 6 seconds, see if a trap was found, and if not, then you can advance a little bit more, stop, wait again, while here it's instant. As soon as you are in range of a trap, if you have the required mechanics to spot it, or perception, then you just spot it. There's no need to wait. Okay, this is a good choke point here, even though it's a slope. Come at me, bitches. He's aiming at Kana, whatever. Okay. Shoot. Shoot. Buff. Debuff. Buff some more. You are gonna buff, and Kana can go into the fight. We're good. Oh, actually she dealt very little damage. Is it because of damage reduction or is it because of misses? Yeah, she actually missed quite a bit there. I'm gonna paralyze them. And then I'm gonna put out a chill fog just to, you know, continuously hurt them. There we go. You can shoot over there. We have a lot of very good buffs going on. We have an amplified mind wave. Go for it.
So much.
There we go. Let's go over here and get Holy Radiance to damage the vessels and get some extra accuracy. Just kill this. Done.
Light, flame, and sound. We'll keep
Okay.
ourselves.
Chill fog, go away. Okay. What else do we have here? This looks interesting.
I see something.
Oh, we still have unique items over here. Gauntlets of swift action, plus 15% attack speed. This is actually quite good. And this is Daybreak, a unique morning star. Plus 1 enemy engage and 25% chance to cast Destroy Spirits on hit or critical hit. Daybreak was the product of the careful engineering of an Animancer from Solace Vale. Hoping to create a defense against the blights and phantoms that often plagued neighboring villages, he developed a morning star that was especially effective against such nightmarish beings. Unfortunately, he died before he could make more. Even though it had no involvement in the early experiments with Hollowborn, he was murdered by one of the many lynch mobs that formed after the appearance of the first Wicts. We shall take it, but we will not be using it. And about these gloves. Yeah, no, I don't think anybody's going to be using them. Yeah, no. I'm gonna stay the way I am.
Hey.
Okay. Can I go over here? Oh, it heals me. This heals. Cool. Okay, very cool. I guess it's to make us not use up so many camping supplies, maybe? The ancient Adra still bears the impression of the 1,000 souls broken upon it. Your soul burns with remembered suffering. Alright. So this is the Soul Guardian's pillar. The pillar tugs at your essence, a pulse from the world itself moves through it. Okay. Shh. More specters. Okay, so we're just gonna protect ourselves as usual. Okay. Good. Amplified wave when that guy comes in, like now. Good. Let's paralyze them. Shoot that maybe. I'm not gonna put up a chill fog because then my people will not be able to cross safely. Let's charge that guy. You can shoot that. You and you can go there.
That's not.
Dead. Dead. Oh! Bitch.
My mind feels sharp as sticks.
And done.
Keeping an eye out.
What else do we have? The pillar tugs at your essence, a pulse from the world itself moves through it. Okay, so same thing as below. Does this have a name? Soul Adra Prison.
There's something
Oh, a trap here. Let's be careful with these traps. There's an animat. Okay, you can come over here, it's fine. We can even escape. I would like to escape a little bit further though. Like there. Okay, good. Let's buff up. You also buff.
What is it?
Some lightning going on, it's fine. Knock this guy down, blast this guy in the face, shoot this guy in the face. Chill fog over there. Kana can also start working on them. Chill fog is out. They're trying to heal. We're gonna paralyze them. Awesome. And toss some books over there. Oh, you can't reach? Come on. Here is fine. Okay, perfect. Let's go for a mind wave. Good job. Durance has finished his buffs. He can just wait back here. Oh, I also need to check if his staff leveled up.
So much for
Since we completed this quest. But you stay here.
you.
That's not
You shoot.
very helpful.
These guys take a while to die, but they die eventually. Amplified wave. I think he's confused. Okay. Check for traps.
flame and sound.
Pick up all this crap.
Keep to ourselves.
Another one of those pillar thingies. Trapped? Oh yeah, and you see, once we stepped on it, we got healed.
I'll see it done. It's finished.
Exceptional padded armor, okay. And this was also Soul Guardian pillars. I don't think there's anything over here, but let me just check. No, there's not. Okay. I love this music.
Quiet as a calm sea, which is
Not very.
very quiet.
Ah, I think there's gonna be a big dialogue section here. So I think we've had enough dialogue for this episode. A lot of Durance talking. So I think I'm gonna save that for the next one since we are almost out of time here. I'm just gonna disable this trap and kill these animats because why not? Can I even do it without... No, I can't. So, no, back up. Well, we disarmed it at least. Okay, this shouldn't matter. Silent Scream on this one. Okay, stun for 12 seconds. Let's just kill that one off.
I need to...
Good. Done. Okay. I didn't need to do this. I just wanted to do it.
Hello?
This way I have both doors open, and this one should be progress here. This is a Soul Other prison just like this one. But yeah, I think there's gonna be a big dialogue here, so I'm gonna save that for the next episode. It's an important dialogue, so I want us to pay attention to it. As always, my friends, thank you so much for being here with me in the channel, watching some Pillars of Eternity. If you guys have any questions or suggestions, you know what to do. Leave a comment below. If you are enjoying the content, consider subscribing for more. There's videos coming out every single day, and I hope to see you all in the next episode. Until then, stay safe, everyone.